Let's move on to our next personality theory, humanistic psychology. So the humanistic movement actually, he wrote his big paper in 1943, but it gained momentum in the 1960s. And it seems like the mindset at that time was more loving to all. So humanistic psychology believes that all of us have the potential to be healthy and happy. But what stops us from having a healthy personality is when our purpose, what our self actualization is blocked. So, humanistic psychology believes that all humans are good, that all humans are fundamentally good, and that each one of us has a role to play in this life. And we only develop personality problems is when our potential, when our gifts are blocked. And so, what we need to do is we need to make choices to utilize our gifts in the best way. So, they don't say that your parents create your personality, and they say that your personality can change if you make different choices. So, this particular school of thought is all about making choices to move you towards this thing called self actualization. And a big tenet of this theory is this hierarchy of needs. So, at the very bottom, the first needs that need to be taken care of are your physiological needs. And you know what? This is a really powerful theory. And I think that a lot of us don't think about how important this is we cannot be our best selves if we don't eat right. If we don't put the right types of food into ourselves, or if we don't have enough sleep, or if we don't have enough water, then our body has to take our energy away from it and try to balance that out. Now, the next place where our energy goes to is safety. If we don't feel safe, then all of our energy and resources go towards maintaining, creating a sense of safety. So it's only when you get your basic physiological needs met and you feel a sense of safety that you can go on to these higher levels of needs. So the first choices that we need to make is we need to make healthy choices for our body. We need to put the best foods in our body, and we need to keep people out that make us feel unsafe. We need to put walls and boundaries up against anything that makes us feel unsafe. We need to have a sense of security. So then the next thing that we need is we need connection to others. So if we don't feel a connection to others, then that's where all of our energy and our choices are going to go to. And once we have this connection to others, then that kind of gives us a stability. So then we can start putting all of our energy towards building our esteem, where we acquire skills and we do great things in our community and we are recognized as a successful person. But once we meet these needs, then we no longer are doing things for the sake of money, for the sake of recognition. We're doing them simply because we have to express ourselves. So he says that you have to make these choices. And if you don't make choices to move along this hierarchy, then you're going to run into problems. So you could look at your level on the hierarchy, or if something here is blocked, then this is where the personality problems come in. So as long as you have these needs met and you keep moving towards this self-actualization, then you will have a healthy personality. So this is from Abraham Maslow. But we have another big humanistic psychology father of humanistic psychology. His name is Carl Rogers. And I'd like to introduce you to a concept that he set forth. He set forth the ideal self versus the real self. So your real self is who you are today. But your ideal self is what your ideal self, like what you would be if you were the greatest person according to you. So Rogers says in order to have a healthy personality, we need to constantly be moving towards our ideal self. And then another thing that he brings in is that people, in order for people to not be blocked from their self actualization or their ideal self, they need to receive unconditional positive regard. So even if you don't agree with what someone else is doing, you need to say, this may be your path. If this is what you feel like you should be doing, then you should follow this path. So, in order to have a healthy personality, you need to be making choices that meeting your physiological needs in the best way, taking your safety. The key here is this is that we have a limited amount of mental energy. And so our we have this limited amount of mental energy. And so these things all kind of have to balance us. I personally actually have a neuroscience theory that kind of corresponds with this. Is the chemical of love and belonging is oxytocin, and the chemical of esteem, of pride, is serotonin. And then moving towards your highest potential, goal setting, moving forward, changing, moving forward, is dopamine. And so I see them as like oxytocin, one side of the triangle, serotonin on the other side of the triangle, and dopamine down here. Is I feel like we have to make choices that are constantly balancing this. We can't get too driven on work and forsake relationships because that's going to kind of throw things off balance. But we also have to do things that serve the community, that help other people in our community to serve ourselves, take pride in ourselves, our home and community, and where the role that we play. And so this would boost our serotonin. So if you have any of these out of balance, then your personality would be out of balance. But by understanding that each of these things need to be fulfilled and that each one can be represented as a chemical, we could try to make choices to help maintain our personal balance. Okay, let's move on to this last theory in this module. And this is the sociocognitive theory. I love all these theories in this particular module, but this one's interesting here. This theory says that personality is not stable at all, that it changes in different environments and it will change under different circumstances. So they say the notion that you have a stable personality is incorrect because your personality changes due to the behaviors that you engage in, the environment that the behaviors are performed in, and your thoughts about your behavior. So these are the three big factors of your personality expression. What do you do? What environment are you in? And what are your thoughts? But what I love about this theory is it gives us so much opportunity to change because you can change your behavior. You can just force yourself to do something. If you say, oh, I don't really like myself because I'm not neat, you could set a timer and force yourself to clean. Or you say, oh, I feel like I procrastinate too much and I just beat myself up. You could force yourself to not procrastinate. You can make a list each day and do this and say, I'm going to do this. Another thing that has a big impact on our personality is the environment. So we can also change our environment. If we don't like who we are, then we can change our environment. We can find new people to hang around with. We can get a new job. We can take new hobbies. We can go to the gym. We can go to plays. We can go to bookstores. We can do all kinds of things. And these different environments will shape our personality differently. Finally, we have cognitions, is we control the thoughts that we think. So by focusing on only certain thoughts, this will create different personalities than other thoughts. So what kind of behaviors affect our thoughts? The first is self-analysis. What do you tell yourself each day? What do you say to yourself each day? This will influence the way you behave, the environments that you're in, and the thoughts that you allow yourself. Another thing is what do other people tell you? You have to be really careful with allowing people into your life that say negative things to you, because your brain, when it hears things again and again, it starts to believe them. So if someone's constantly saying things that undercut you, think about it. Whatever you think about your personality, where did you get that notion from? You probably got it from feedback from others that they tell you, oh, you're this way or you're that way. Another thing that can heavily influence our personality expression is watching other people. And this is why it's really important for you to have role models in your life. To have a lot of role models, see what they're doing, a lot of positive role models, see what they're doing every day, because we tend to emulate the people that are closest to us. I think in biopsych, I read a study that whether or not you lose weight, one of the biggest determinants is your friends. Are your friends eating healthy and on a diet? Or are your friends eating a lot of junk food and not on a diet? And that has a huge impact on you. So again, watching what people surrounding you are doing has a big impact on our personality. And finally, this is one right here, purposeful behavior is, I think, one of the most important things that can boost our self-esteem is this one, this purposeful behavior. People who are successful, they tend to set goals for themselves each day. They get up every morning and they make lists. This is what I'm going to accomplish today. And a lot of them have weekly goals, and a lot of them have monthly goals and yearly goals. A lot of us make a New Year's resolution, but we know that we forget that pretty quickly. So purposeful behavior is setting a goal and then meeting it. And when you set a goal and then you achieve it, that will boost your self-esteem. You set a goal, meet it, boost your self-esteem, set a goal, meet it. So I think the greatest way, if you say, oh, I don't like my personality, I would like to be more confident, I would like to feel better about myself. I think one of the greatest ways that we can feel better about ourselves is through purposeful behavior. Here's like an analogy with the three little pigs. Okay. So one little pig, as you know, they built a house of straw. So they just thought to themselves like, you know what? I would like to feel safe and secure. So they had that thought. Okay. But as you know, a thought, if you tell yourself, I love myself, I'm so great, I love myself, it's just a thought. It's like a house of straw. But then there was another person, another pig, and this pig says, well, you know what? I'm going to go a little bit further, is I'm going to maybe start buying some new clothes, or start maybe get a gym membership, so I can feel like, maybe I like myself a little bit more. But as we know, just changing environments or just hanging out with new people, that's like a house of sticks. That one can be knocked down again. But the final little pig didn't just think about it or take basic actions like changing the environment. The final pig, he set daily goals. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this. And each goal that they set for themselves became a brick. And when you've set enough goals and you've witnessed yourself accomplishing all that you've set out to do, it builds this inner confidence in you, like a spine, like a strong backbone in you, that people can huff and they can puff, but nothing's going to bring you down because you built every brick by setting goals and meeting them, setting goals and meeting them. So I hope that I've given you a good overview of these theories. Once again, Freud's theory was how personality develops, and he talks about unconscious processes. Then the trait theory, it describes personality and how we all differ on 4 to 5 different constructs. And then the humanistic theory talks about what we need to do to maintain a healthy personality is we constantly need to be making choices to move from our real self to our ideal self, becoming the best person that we can possibly be. And then the sociocognitive theory says personality isn't stable at all. It's not stable. It's influenced by 3 main factors: the thoughts that we have that day, our behaviors that we engage in, and the environments that we're in. And all of those things are very cyclical too. If you have a negative environment, then it may cause you to have negative thoughts about yourself, which may block you from engaging in behaviors. If you have negative thoughts about yourself, then you might not go to certain environments and you might not engage in behaviors, right? So I hope this has given you a good overview.